Hello again, this is Mandy Hugaboom with the Full Armor of God podcast, and today we are going over the third podcast in the series of the Full Armor of God, Put on Your Armor, The Wiles of the Devil, Part 2. Now, the reason why I want to go over this is that we as Christians and even non-Christians need to understand what we're up against when it comes to Satan. Very sneaky, cunning, deceitful, and he will worm his way into your life if you let him. So we're going first. We're going to give some examples of Satan and how he operates. Now, he may not come to you, of course, in a garden like he did Eve, but these are the same tactics he uses. Now, the main one we're talking about today is him as the serpent. And in Genesis chapter 3, 1 through 5. Now the serpent, talking about the devil, was more subtle. And what subtle means in the dictionary, definitions from Oxford Languages, subtle means making use of clever and indirect methods to achieve something. Making use of clever and indirect methods to achieve something. Comes about it, as I said, he's not going to come to you at like what you see in a red suit with horns and a pitchfork. He's going to come as an angel in disguise a lot of the times. So now the serpent, meaning the devil, is more subtle, meaning making use of clever and indirect methods to achieve something, than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, which was Eve, the serpent said to the woman, which was Eve, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Now, Satan knew, I'm sure, because in Isaiah it talks about him being in the Garden of Eden. I'm sure he knew that God told Adam and Eve to not eat of the tree of knowledge. But he was trying to put that thought in her head. He knew what God said. He's trying to come behind God and question it to her. Hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So that was what God told them. God's very plain. He doesn't play games. He's not sneaky. He is direct with what he's saying. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. So he completely was disregarding what God said to her. Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, what is he doing here? The devil, talking to Eve as a serpent. He's contradicting what God said. You're not going to die. So he's calling God a liar. And he's trying to falsely accuse God that God is doing this because he knows if they eat of it, they'll become like gods, knowing good and evil. Now they would know good and evil, but they're not going to become gods or like gods. But he was putting that temptation in her. Oh, you're not going to die. Now, just think about this in modern day language. You're not going to die. Shoot. You'll be like a god. You'll know good and evil. So, he's coming in subtly. He's putting thoughts in her head, making her question God, tempting her, making her think about that. What would it be like if I did that? What would it be like to become a god? God's trying to keep me from something. And trying to make her think that God was deceiving her. Okay, and what's found throughout online is characteristics of a serpent. I'm just kind of going to highlight over this. But they have good eyesight. Okay? So, like a snake, Satan is looking for you and can see you well. Hypnotized to swallow their prey, and they'll eat almost anything. Satan will attack anyone. They live almost everywhere. Now, Satan is not like God. He can't be everywhere all the time. He doesn't know everything. But he can be somewhere and his demons be all over the place. It is a ranking system. And say, for instance, Satan's the head of it, and you go down to basically archdemons on down. And there's such things as familiar spirits, monitoring spirits that will monitor you, and they will report back to Satan. So it's like the information about you will go through the grapevine, and then they'll plot your downfall. They will stalk their prey while hiding. He's waiting to attack. They infect with venom when they bite, subduing their prey. When you get close enough, Satan will bite and then inject you with his poisonous lies and bondage. Alright, let's see here. They will unhinge their jaws and coil around to devour their prey. Satan will surround you with his demons in bondage and devour your very life and soul. If he is able to take you out, dragging your soul to hell. It's by the grace of God that many people aren't dead, because Satan would take people out. He wants to kill you. He wants to kill, steal, and destroy. That is his three main objectives. He doesn't like you. He hates your guts. And anything he has to offer will drag you down. He has nothing to lose. The church has gotten where it doesn't mention the devil too much, or if at all. We need to understand our enemy. The Bible also refers to him as a roaring lion in 2 Corinthians 2:11, warning us not to be ignorant of his tactics. Ephesians 6:11 tells us to put on the whole armor of God, that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, which is tactics or schemes. So what God has been telling us is we have an enemy, and he is slick as a serpent and ferocious as a lion, attacking his prey. We need to understand how to protect ourselves against him. Well, we know one, the Bible tells us to resist the devil and he will flee from you. But we will go over some more of those in the next podcast or so. I am only trying to get through the wiles of the devil to make you understand what we are dealing with as a human race. It is very important. This is not a game. And so we need to understand our enemy. Now, we know who has our back. As long as we are born again and are in good standing with God, we can defeat the enemy. We defeat him. Jesus Christ defeats him through us. He's already defeated him anyway, at the cross. But he will come after us because we belong to God. And he wants to hurt us because he can't hurt God. And so we need to be very wary of what he's up to. But I wanted to go ahead and, as I said, I don't want to spend too much time on the devil. But it is important to understand who our enemy is and why we're putting the full armor on and what it is he uses to attack us. So we're going to have several more videos trying to get all this information together because I can only do about 15 minutes long on these recordings, so I can't get it. If I could sit and do a 2 or 3 hour one, I would, but I have to do about no longer than 15 minutes. So I'm not trying to stay on the devil, but I'm trying to give you the information to start with before we get any deeper into this, so we know who we're fighting against and why we are putting that armor on and how we need to stand and what we need to do to defeat him, and the tools that God gives us in his word to do so. So I'm going to end here for the day, and please email me if you have any questions, comments, or prayer requests at MandyHugaboom8, that's the number 8, at Outlook.com. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I hope you all have a blessed week. God bless you.